So welcome to Model Kit Stuff, and today I've got a quick tips video for you on how to make your own wash for cockpits and aircraft interiors and so on. So I'm going to show you my traditional method of doing it. I know there's lots and lots of various products out there now that are ready to go, ready to use washers, and they can be very convenient and a good way to go. They're also quite expensive and not everyone has that budget. So I'm going to show you how to do this the more traditional way using tube oil paints, how to make your own wash, and talk you through one or two of the advantages of doing it this way over the pre-formulated way. So let's talk about what you need to make your own wash. Well, you need essentially two oil tube paints. So first colour that you'll need is a raw umber, and the second one is a burnt sienna. Now, it doesn't matter what manufacturer you use, whether it's Winsor & Newton, these ones are Daler and Rowney, whichever one you can get the cheapest is the best one for you. I tend to use the same brand when I'm mixing. I don't think it makes a lot of difference, to be honest, but just to be on the safe side. Now, I do sometimes add a transparent red oxide, which gives you a slightly rusty look, and that can be handy inside of things like tanks and armoured cars and anything that might be made of steel and might see a little bit of corrosion with the dampness inside from the sweat of the crew or the heat causing condensation. But for aircraft, just these two, and I think these are the two bases for all interior washers. Now, the other thing you're going to need is some thick paper towel, a palette, obviously. You're going to need a pipette. You're going to need some brushes, which you'll already have, and then you need a way of thinning it. And you can go with the sort of traditional distilled turpentine, but that tends to be a little bit whiffy. So if you can find yourself a low odour thinner, that's going to be much more palatable, especially if you're spending quite a period of time weathering the inside of a large cockpit like that, for example. Now, the first thing you want to do is decant some of the tube paint, and we're going to put that on this paper towel. It's quite a thick paper towel and it's been folded up several times. Now, I prefer to do it on a paper towel rather than on a piece of cardboard, just because this is more absorbent and it soaks away the linseed oil that's in the tube with the pigment much quicker. If you put it on cardboard, you're going to have to leave it to stand for several hours potentially. So this is a much quicker way of doing that. So all we're going to do is take some of our paint and put it on the paper towel. And you only need a small amount. You can always add to it, but whatever you decanted, you're using or you're chucking. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some of our thinners into the palette. Okay, and we're ready to go. It's as simple as that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a small amount of paint. I'm going to start with the lighter colour paint, and we're going to put that in our palette. I'm going to take some of the darker colour paint. I'm not worried about mixing it because that's what we're doing. And then we'll just dip our brush in the thinners and start mixing them together. Rather than adding drops at a time, you've got more control with the brush because you're actually adding less, so you can get the consistency you want, it might take a little bit longer, but you can get it more accurate than if you're putting drops in from a pipette. And you can see that's given us quite a nice paint already, but obviously that's way too thick because we're after a wash. Now, the particular shade you go for is largely up to you and up to your interior colour. If you're in a more modern jet, for example, that might be a black interior, you may want to keep it a little bit darker. And if you're in something that's maybe possibly got sort of muddy in some way, like it's a Dakota or something that has a lot of footfall in the inside, you might want it a bit more on the redder side so that it represents a little bit of mud. But I'm going to make mine a little bit darker. And the advantage of making your own wash is, firstly, you can get the exact shade you want. You're not stuck with what the manufacturer thought, or with the best of what you've got from the pre-bought washes that you've got. But also you can change the consistency of this as you work. So you can make it thicker or thinner depending on what you're doing. You've got your paint there, which you can use to change the colour at any point that you like. There you go. I want to make that nice and thin. And we can simply dab some and see how thin it is. And what you're looking for is something that is translucent and flows easily. So I think we're nearly there. A bit more thinner. That's it. That's all there is to making your own wash. When it comes to applying the wash, you apply it in the same way as you might apply a wash that is prepared for you in a bottle. It's just a choice of brush and then applying it on. And in the same way as a purchased wash, you can use thinners to clean it up once it's dried a little bit, or polish it off with a bit of tissue paper. Basically, it works exactly the same as a shop bought wash, but you've made it yourself. And a couple of tubes of this will last you years and years and years. It's not going to go off. It's not going to give you the problems that you might get with the shop bought ones, and it may well last you a lifetime. So it's a fraction of the price, even if it costs you a little bit more to get the tubes. And you've got wash to hand always. And like I say, you can add other colours to make the wash your very own. Personalised washes whenever you need them. So you can use the same basic formula for exterior washes. You can do anything with tube oils. It's the same process. It's nice and easy. And when you've finished, you can clean this up with a little bit of white spirit, and that can go in your bin. So it's not even an untidy way of working. And as you can see, it wasn't a slow process. Okay, I hope that was useful. If you've never made a wash yourself, or you've been thinking about stepping up your game and going into weathering, this gives you something else to consider rather than having to fork out lots of money on a huge range of different washes for every occasion. When you can make your own, I think you should. Okay, take care everyone. You enjoy your modelling, and I'll see you very soon.